Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, February 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick you see will also be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using a 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, NVDA, had earnings, and what a monster move it did, and now a great looking pattern here has taken shape. And NVIDIA, very popular stock. So I want to be very clear that this level here that I'm drawing is not some sort of great discovery. I'm not trying to impress you with some sort of like fantastic talent. Right there at 239, a lot of people are going to be watching 239. And I say all that because when you have a lot of people watching the same levels on a very popular stock, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there is no such thing as a guarantee, is it valid? Is it plausible that if the price comes up here and breaks up through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. Now, I realize this is a higher price stock, but this is also one where if you trade options, then yeah, I wouldn't call you crazy at all if you form some sort of trade plan around maybe picking up some calls if it can break up through that level. Again, that's not a recommendation. I'm just looking at it and saying I can see why you might be thinking that, but you got to figure out what fits best into your strategy. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, key level to watch from a trendline standpoint right here at that level. Let me, in fact, change this to green to represent more so the bullish part of the pattern of support. And just because paranoid, let's just make this nice and even. There we go. Now it looks nice and pretty. And then from more of a bigger picture point of view, make this all the same color. We have a resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. To make it more visual, let's put the golf hole down in there. And what we have here is a bull pennant pattern. Next one, BOIL, B-O-I-L. This is an ETF that measures the natural gas sector, and this thing it can move very quickly. And as I talked about in yesterday's watch list video, starting to show some signs of life and got that much more follow through here. So good to see that the price has made and shown signs of progress, which in yesterday's video I defined as staying above that level right there. So if you look at that set of lows relative to that one, and then you factor in the new set of lows right there, and if you envision each one of those as stair steps, you can see that after today, the stair steps continue in the upwards direction. In other words, the progress remains in the bullish direction, which is what you want to see. However, the big question mark that I think most people will be watching tomorrow, and rightfully so, again, if we want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy point, I would not argue against that at all. But it's all about that pink line up there, which on my chart denotes the very famous, the very well-known 200 period moving average, currently valid at, let's just call it $5.85. So you got to think that a lot of people are going to be watching that 585 mark and wondering, can the price get up to it? If it does, is it going to push up through it and break it? So definitely keep a close eye on that, as that'll be, in my opinion at least, that definitely main area of resistance. As far as the newest level of support is concerned, preferably speaking, if the price can now stay above that purple line there, 50 period moving average valid at, let's just call it the $5 mark, that would certainly represent the biggest sign of power. But yeah, overall, higher highs and higher lows as the price continues to try to get reversed back around. Next one, AMAM, and the uptrend continues. I mean, classic example of higher highs, and we have now continued higher lows. So that's what you want to see. So overall, very clearly a nice uptrend, and it's just one of those situations where if you like uptrends, if you like stocks down below $10, this one was formerly down below $5, but not so much anymore. Then this is one that I definitely keep an eye on, as you have some very well-defined areas here, which the main level with knocking on the door right now, and that's why I like to do these when the market's still open, because sometimes we can capture breakouts happening right before our very eyes. But right up here at $6.50 going to be that near-term area of resistance. And then as far as supports, you have that level right there. So again, let me get that changed to green to represent the support dynamic, and then to make it maybe easier to see, keep it one color. So we have, let's make it not green here. We have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move right there, we have our golf hole down there, so we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So maybe NVIDIA was too high of a price stock for you, but you do like bull pennant patterns and you prefer things down below $10. Well, here you go, AMAM, bull pennant, and overall occurring in a nice upwards trend. Next one here, OCEA. This one made some people rich today. This one also destroyed some people's accounts. Absolutely crazy, crazy remover. I have no idea how many times it was halted today. So this is one where definitely if you're going to partake in it, I would say probably consider reducing position size, because this thing, yeah, it can make you a lot of money, but if it doesn't go in your favor and you get stuck in halts and all that sort of nonsense, then it can also hurt you. But why I want to do this is because of the pullback, and not necessarily the pullback, but the location of where the pullback has now reached, which is down near that pink line, which you now know is the 200 period moving average, and that purple line, the 50 period moving average. So it's definitely down here within a general area where, of course, no guarantees, as I've said, but now does it become plausible? Does it become valid to at least throw out the question, hey, could there be some sort of bounce down around this area? In my mind, absolutely, because those are very well-known moving averages, and even if it's just bouncing, well, just because, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, well, then so be it. But like I said, given the nature of how far this thing has now pulled back and the location of this pullback, if you enjoy these sort of, borderline degenerate gambler stocks, but I won't call it completely, because you can manipulate that with just, position size. But if you do like these highly volatile stocks, then yeah, this thing with the pullback has certainly gotten itself down into an interesting range. Next one, AMC. Overall, chart's doing just fine. Sure, a little bit of frustration depending on your perspective, meaning if you're a day trader or scalper and you're buying in anticipation of the breakout of that red line that I talked about yesterday, well then yeah, you're feeling pretty rough now, because not only did it get rejected, but there is a relatively bigger pullback here in the later day here. But like I said, let's squeeze things down and show it. I need to just get rid of that line. But looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, and I am going to go ahead and adjust this now that we have more data points. It seems as though the more accurate level of support down there at around 592. But overall, what I'm trying to get at is, sure, if you're buying as a day trader right there, this can feel like the end of the world, and maybe it is the end of the world for your particular trade plan. But for those people that care about more so the bigger picture point of view, as I've talked about already, when it comes to where have the lows been. Let me get those out from behind my ugly mug. There we go. You can see lows right there, then lows right there, lows there, lows there. And again, from a stair-step standpoint, still overall progressing in the upwards direction. So yes, depending on your strategy today, maybe this one's looking kind of rough for you. However, for those people that do care about the big picture point of view, yeah, disappointing that it got rejected up at that area of resistance that I talked about yesterday. But overall, it's still making those higher highs and higher lows, and that's what matters most. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency, to manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. But one note, because it is a genuine live class, a couple things. If you're like me, and you have a busy schedule. I have 5 kids, so I understand. Maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening and you can't make it, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you just completely missed it. That is okay. Go ahead, drop me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to it when it's all completed. So like I said, just either sign up or drop me an email, but hopefully I'll see you there. And we're going to do some good learning here very soon. Next one here, VBLT, and there's no doubt about it, this one looks quite ugly, especially if you consider that there are, people buying there, people buying right there. From those vantage points, yeah, really rough, but overall, no doubt about it, nice move up, and now a very big pullback here, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly. So yes, this does look ugly, but what makes this interesting is that if this thing can get a bit more ugly and come down to these couple levels right there, which you now know, 200 period moving average and 50 period moving average, basically right there at 15 cents, does that guarantee a bounce? No, of course not. But is it at least plausible? Is it at least a valid area where there could be a bounce? Absolutely. And assuming you can be disciplined and honor stop losses and all that, then from a risk reward scenario, you could be looking at a very good situation, because even if you get just a modest bounce relative to what was being risked, you would still be having a very nice RVR profile, which is what trading's all about. So like I said, if you like penny stocks, if you like to play these situations where there can be opportunity in the ugly, then keep an eye on it. Next one, LCID. Crazy chart today when you consider just how big the gap down was, and then how nasty the opening part of the day was. And then you look this afternoon, and as you see here, no exaggeration, just basically all green straight up the remainder of the day. So now the price is sitting at some very interesting levels. And once again, going back to we'll call it the self-fulfilling prophecy, angle and dynamic. That's what we have here. So the level that you got to think a ton of people are watching, because it sticks out like a sore thumb right up there at $8.90, or let me make sure I'm saying that. Yeah, $8.85, excuse me. So $8.85 is going to be a level where you can see acted as resistance there, and then acted as resistance a couple times there. So you're going to have a bunch of people, wondering and throwing out the question, which is a more than valid question. Can the price get the breakout? And if it does get the breakout, is that going to be the leading indicator of just that much more upside momentum to come? All very valid observations and questions. You're also going to have people saying, Same logic of, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Well, let's see if the price rolls back over and then maybe get some sort of double bottom pattern. So we already have, bottom number one, but if the price does come down, will it do the same, give a double bottom, and then head back up? Once again, another very valid thought process to have. So yeah, there's different angles. Yeah, there's different strategies and approaches, but at the core, the underlying dynamic is both of these levels are very, very important. Did I give a price level? I don't think so. Right down there around $8.10. So $8.85 key resistance, $8.10 key level of support. Next one here, NIO, not a good day at all. Not necessarily because how nasty of a day it was. I mean, to think about it, this thing gapped up here and then just brutal day. But what makes it just that much more brutal is it actually came down to that green line, which I've talked about in the past, and has now broken down through it. So from a technical point of view, just a rough day. Once more, not because it was red, but because this very key level of support that had done such a good job of holding no longer held, and just basic rules in charting, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So $9.92 is going to be the next key battleground. So yes, to give credit where credit's due, there is a nice upwards channel here that has formed, and it's approaching that. But you have to, you do have to also factor in context. What was happening before this upwards channel? Well, you had this big downwards move here, which is now giving me the ability to draw a bear flag pattern. Let me be very clear. Just because it's a bearish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going down. Just like some of those other patterns we talked about, those bullish ones, don't guarantee that the price is going to go up. All I'm saying is, yeah, there's reason to be a little hopeful. There's reason to be some excited because the price is working up. However, I'd be very, very skeptical and leery of it because overall, it's just formed a bear flag pattern. But if this thing can get back up to that area of resistance and break up through there, then yeah, the momentum could potentially start to turn. But yeah, overall, just a rough day. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. Always watching this one, trying to trade it every day. I can't remember if I did trade it today. I think I did. I don't remember. Anyways, point being, definitely some key dynamics here that I'll be watching as we head into Friday here. And this level is definitely just based on the premise of you got to think a lot of other people have drawn that trend line like that. So no talents, no special discoveries, a very simple, trend line, but one where it makes me think, okay, if the price can get up there and push up through it, that could be enough to, bring that much more momentum. So whether it's calls or just trying to go long, I can see a lot of people thinking, yeah, that level right up there at basically 204 could very well spark upwards pressure. And then from the flip side of things, if this trend line ultimately rejects the price back down, then I will also be curious alongside, I'm sure, many other traders in regards to this level of support down here right around the 196.50 mark, with the idea that if 196.50 cannot hold, then I don't think it's too crazy to think that the price could then go down there and retest that 192 mark. But one hurdle at a time. And as of now, certainly the most interesting dynamic, because it's more, much closer to happening, is right here in regards to can the price get up to that trend line and break through it. So definitely keep an eye on those levels, or at least I should say those are the areas and dynamics that I'll be paying attention to. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market is going to rise, this one will also rise. Big difference just being this allows you access for a much lower cost point, which makes it very popular. And this will mean a tad more to those of you that watched yesterday's video. But if you did, hopefully you remember that green line there. So for anybody that on this, apparent gap up and then pull back right here, congrats to anybody that bought down here around that green line, because as it's done before, you got a very, very nice bounce. So from a risk-reward scenario, congratulations, nice trade on that part. But then that also means that moving forward, this level down here right around 2205 remains that key area of support. So potentially, do we have a triple bottom here? Bottom one, bottom two, bottom three, and is this movement here going to get that much more follow through? No idea, but we do have another big test now that we can use to kind of answer that question, and that is just via this trend line right here, which you can see, again, not talented, not a special discovery. A lot of people have drawn that trend line, so we'll just call it the self-fulfilling prophecy trend line because, yes, no guarantees, but is it valid to think that the price recovers back up to that level and gets a break up through it, that could create another additional round of upwards buying pressure and momentum? In my mind, that is a very valid possibility. And if the price gets, depending on how strong of a break, that could very well, I'm not going to say hit it on Friday, but put it back on a trajectory to at least do battle with that 200 period moving average. What would happen at that level? I think that's getting a little premature to talk about that. But like I said, a high volume break of that level, do I think it starts to become realistic that sometime next week the price could be back up there battling that level? I think so. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then certainly get signed up for the free training. Or like I said, if you already have something on your schedule this evening or you completely missed it, then go ahead, drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link. All I would just say is a little bit of patience because it is truly a live event. So the event does first need to happen. Then I have to get it uploaded. And then I would be happy to, like I said, to send you out the link to the email. So just go ahead, drop me an email. But if you can make it live, then get signed up and I'll see you here in just a few hours. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do 2 things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment below. Say hi, give me a smiley face. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. And I appreciate it. And that helps out the channel and, just makes things a lot easier on my end. So get signed up for that class or drop me an email. And hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours.